Does anybody know what this thing on my workbench is? All jokes aside, we're finally back with a drag racing video. I'm not going to try to fool anyone. We won't be going outside and running this car today. You may be able to hear the rain in the background. It's a pretty nasty day, but I would like to try to get back into a little bit more drag racing again. And we have to get the car ready for that. It's kind of like any sport, really. If you take a break for a while, you can't just jump back full force in it. You have to work your way back up to where you were. So to start that, we're gonna get the car right, or what I believe should be right, before we actually head outside and do any testing. One of the reasons you haven't really seen this car much is I haven't really found a place to do any testing. I used to go right out front of the house on the street, and we learned pretty quickly that those expansion joints in the concrete just wasn't good for drag racing. Case in point here. So I'm still looking for a new spot to run, but when I find that spot, I want the car to be set up and ready to go. We have a couple of things we need to do to get the car ready for that. You might remember way back when I had done some stiffening to the body. Well, those expansion joints in the concrete tore those stiffeners up, so we'll be replacing those today. And then I noticed taking the car off the wall, the diff seems pretty loose, so I think I'm gonna go in and just go out with a fresh diff. We're gonna pull a diff out, replace those fluids in there, and get the car ready to make some passes again. Let's start off with the easy stuff and replace these stiffeners on the body. I don't remember if I ever actually showed how I made these stiffeners for the body, so we're gonna go over it again. This is some 1.5 millimeter carbon fiber rod. Could probably go up to 2 millimeter. I went on the small end just to be safe. And these are some number 8 electrical terminals. These fit 22 to 18 gauge wire, I believe, normally. But today we're gonna stick our carbon fiber rods in the end of it. I have this one cut down already to replace that front one. And then we're just gonna use a crimping pliers to crimp the electrical connector onto the carbon fiber rod, just like you would on a wire. And now just like that, that's not coming off. We'll be able to bend the ends of these little eyelets just a little bit to fit the contours of the body and bolt it up in place. Like I said, we just bend those ends just a little bit and they can drop back onto my screws right where it was before and help us stiffen up that body. You can see the point of this is to help stiffen up that body when we aren't running into expansion joints in concrete. This side here is broken. I have to replace this one. You can see how much flex there is. Compared to this side where the mount is in good condition, there's a lot less flex there. You can see I'm pushing on it and it doesn't go in as much. So I have 1, 2, looks like just 2 more to replace. We'll get those replaced and move on to that diff. I was gonna say it's been a while since I changed the fluids in this diff, but actually pulling the diff out of this car, I don't actually remember ever pulling the diff out. So this is probably the same diff fluid that's been in the car since I built it, when this DR10M was first released. We're gonna go ahead and clean out this diff and replace those fluids with some 1 million weight diff oil. I've covered changing diff fluids on the channel many times before. This one's no different. We're just gonna go ahead and change that real quick and then slap it back in the car. After going ahead and putting that back together, I can definitely say I do not remember ever taking that rear end apart on this DR10M to change that diff fluid. So this is definitely the first time the diff fluid gets changed in this car since I built it. Hopefully a fresh build on the diff like that will help us keep this thing straight, keep the power planted down. When I do find a location to run this car and test it out again, we will be starting off pretty slow again. Like I said, we need to work back into it. I need to go into the settings in the Macklin ESC and see where we're at with the stages of the power, but I think I'm gonna turn it down a good bit just to get a couple of good passes under my belt before we start turning it up and ramping that power back in. Looking through some of the old videos, I was able to get 70 miles an hour at one point, so that'll be the goal, to get back to 70 with this car, but it definitely won't happen right away. We'll take our time and slowly work our way back up to that. Like I said, the main focus is finding a good location to run this car. We need smooth, flat surface, no expansion joints in concrete, hopefully, and a lot of room on the top end to shut down. Just about every location I've tried in the past has some issue or another, and I know we'll have to settle and kind of race the road in certain spots, but I'm looking for the best possible solution for a place for us to get out and run this car. If you're interested in seeing more drag racing content on the channel, again, make sure to leave a like. That helps me to see what videos you guys are enjoying. It helps out the channel. And also subscribe so that when we do find a place to run this car again, you won't miss any of the videos as we get back to testing, getting back to racing. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks again for watching. Peace.